Happy Saratoga opening day to everybody. Happy Del Mar Eve. Happy Haskell Eve. Happy Thursday if you're one of those people who have to, or happy Friday Eve if you're one of those people who's going back into the office and has to make that weird small talk on Thursday near the water cooler, and you hate when people say happy Friday Eve because it's just fucking Thursday. Yeah, I'm Josh here on the wrong lead at Cherry Drink. Man, we got a busy freaking weekend this week. And we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. So before we bring in our resident Saratoga money burner, let's bring in Caleb. Caleb, how are you doing, man?
Oh, you fooled me on that one. Doing pretty good, though. It's been a fun day. It's so good to have Saratoga back and Del Mar tomorrow. It's been a rough couple of weeks of racing, sort of waiting for this meet. And I know there's been all kinds of Twitter chatter about romanticizing Saratoga, but it's something to get excited for. I'm happy it's here, but there's other good stuff too. I mean, Del Mar, Haskell, it's a really good weekend of racing, and I'm excited.
Yeah, I can't wait till the bamboozle I pull here, where Mark thinks that we're going to be covering Saratoga, and we're actually going to be covering Arlington's big day, including Zulu Alpha on Saturday. But yeah. Mark, I feel so bad, Mark, because, well, Caleb should also feel very bad because you had two just like monster prices or good prices. You had money going through them. Both of them nosed out, and Caleb and I had them both.
Yeah, I got nosed out of two pretty massive prices that would have made a very nice day. If my 12 holds on early, I hit the pick 5 for, I don't know, $1. And then I got my pick of the day, the 9 there, was a rather suspect ride. You know, I mean, when you're riding at that level and you think you're, I don't know, second coming of Secretariat and you're 3 wide in both corners and you get nailed at the wire, you know, like I've wanted to murder a couple jockeys on occasion, and today was one of those occasions. So it happens. Yeah, what can I say?
John Massey pointing out imbibing. I hear word on the street is you and John Massey imbibed plenty.
We may have imbibed a little. I'm still suffering slightly from all the imbibing, and so I'm doing some more imbibing. So, you know, I mean, just keep going, right? Like it just gets better.
Yeah, I mean, I'm celebrating my my nice Saratoga opening.
Is that the stuff Caleb hates?
With the bottle that Caleb sent me, where he was just like, he's like, I hate this. And I was like, send me a sample. He's like, dude, I'm just going to send you the rest of the bottle. Like, I'm not even going to waste a sample bottle on this. Just here's the rest of it. But yeah, it's a Smoke Wagon, uncut, unfiltered. It's funny. It's like it's been like a hype bourbon for like the past like year and a half. And like I tried the regular, like their straight bourbon, and I liked it. I thought it was a good flavor profile. And I feel like this is probably just like a little bit stronger version of it. But like, I mean, it's all right, but I don't know, for you to thought that it was like the second coming of like ambrosia or something like that. But
glad you're able to take that off my hands.
What about you, Caleb? You got any alcohol there?
I do. So I don't got the bottle in here. Actually, I do. I got some Wild Turkey rare breed barrel proof rye.
Nice.
So that's yeah, it's a bit different. It's actually really tough to find down here. So I got lucky that a buddy of mine hooked it up. But yeah, I mean, the rare breed is, you know, it's good, but the rye I think is definitely something kind of special. So it's pretty tasty.
Yeah, I think you sent me a sample of it, and I really liked it. And it's not like, if I remember correctly, it's not super expensive. I think it's like $60 or something.
Yeah, I paid $50 or $60. Yeah.
Yeah. Stuff's a little bit cheaper down by you, but it's the big box store here does a pretty decent job of keeping the prices pretty normal. I don't know what Jay's talking about killing jockeys being racist, but I don't think we've killed anybody. We talked about killing jockeys. Oh yeah, I think you
I
did.
may have mentioned killing jockeys, but it's not racist because they weren't, you know, I mean, just a random smattering of jockeys I want to strangle just today. So it'll be a different smattering tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm sure. But yeah, I mean, we got a lot of stuff that we can talk about and cover. We got our PPs. Shout out Chase is actually going to be traveling this week, so Chase wasn't able to make it. I know he's if you haven't listened to our podcast, I actually was talking to him, and there's just like rumors about him doing a live stream from a hot tub, and then they're doing like a challenge on who can get the drunkest at Applebee's for the least amount of money.
And I think they were worried about being tossed out of an Applebee's and the aftermath of when you get tossed out of an Applebee's in the parking lot. And I mean, it sounds like it's going to be an entertaining gig. So you might want to tune into his podcast on, you know what it is, Josh, right?
Yeah, it's the gymnasium. So yeah,
I mean, what is your go-to if you're really trying to win that at Applebee's? I mean, are you doing you're just doing like Well Liquor? Are you doing like Long Island's? I mean, like, what's your game plan there?
Dude, I don't remember the last time I had been in an Applebee's. We actually talked about this. I was like, I had to have been in high school, so I wasn't even of drinking age. I'm like, I've been to a Chili's since then, and then realized that Chili's is just the fucking Applebee's with margaritas. So,
Yep.
Dude, I'm not like I told the story already, but like my wife and I, we went to Chili's. I'm like, let's just get some margaritas and like some chips and salsa, and like it'll be good. And like we got those margaritas, and we took a sip, and like we both like look at I look at her, and she's like, "You think these are good?" I was like, I must have just not like, what the fuck is this? Like, this is awful. And so we just like left. Like I don't even think we finished our drinks. We just left. So like the next time we went, like we got some like Crown Royal apple drink or something, and it was decent. But yeah, margaritas at Chili's, no go. I guess unless like you're in the middle of nowhere, like Nebraska, where Chase said, "Yeah, we're going to Applebee's because there's nowhere else to go." But yeah, let's take a look at some Saratoga racing here on Saturday. We're gonna touch on the two stakes races here before we get into some of the other stuff here. Mark, I know you were just like absolutely beside yourself when I told you that I wanted to talk about the Sanford, because if there's one thing that you love, it's 2-year-old stakes races in July.
Yeah, 2-year-old stakes races in July when most of the starters have one start and you're absolutely throwing darts. Completely my favorite thing to do and to tackle. I think this is one of those races that if I'm looking at this from a sequence standpoint, a pick 5, a pick 6, something like the pick 4 even, I'm going to want to be really spread in here. I don't think there's a standout in this race. There's a ton of horses that can win this. I think Wit, your morning line favorite, the one horse on the rail makes a lot of sense. I know we had a rail winner at 6 furlongs today. I still don't trust rail runners. And that one rail runner today was, I think, either on or just off the pace. I think Witt's going to be probably a little further off this pace. And I think you're going to have a fair bit of pace in here with horses like Candy Landing and Maryland Brando, trying to press the pace. And I think there's going to be that second flight is probably going to be really uptight. These 2-year-olds don't like to rate. They want to go. They sort of tend to have one gear. So I think this is a kind of race where you sort of spread out. I sort of landed on, I think you have to use Wit, even though I kind of want to toss the horse just on rail position. I think somebody like Candy Landing, the 2, Jimmy Graham up makes a lot of sense. Another horse that's going to be really forwardly placed. And I also think somebody like, Maryland Brando, the 6, again, a forwardly placed horse, but a horse that, is these 2-year-olds. They're very lightly raced. A lot of times they don't love kickback. And if you can be on the front end, sometimes you don't end up where they really pass on the lane, in the lane. I don't want to talk forever, but I think if you saw that the track today, it was a little tiring. I would imagine they will tighten it up a little bit if we don't get rain overnight, which isn't supposed to happen. So I would imagine track's going to dry a little, get a little bit more speed favoring. I like somebody like the 6 at a bit of a price in a race that I feel is wide open.
So not to bring up old wounds, Mark, actually they're not really old. They're pretty fresh. They're a couple hours old. Caleb, that horse that nosed Mark came up the rail, right?
He did. Dak Daniels. Is that the one you mean?
Yeah, Dak Daniels. Yeah, he came up the rail. He saved a
did.
bit of ground there. Yeah, so
Yeah, I thought the rail looked on the main track surprisingly at least fair today, which is kind of abnormal for Saratoga. But it seemed like inside was absolutely no disadvantage at all. So that was something interesting to watch.
yeah, I mean, I'm not going to talk too much about this, but I landed pretty closely to where Mark did. See, I never like these races are always tough for me. If I'm going to play anything horizontally, if I'm playing doubles, I'm not going to try and use too many horses in the spot. And I mean, I'm going to try and get around this one. I landed on 2 horses mainly. I know one you talked about already, Mark, which was the 2 horse Candy Landing. The horse, kind of sat just off the pace or sat, dueled essentially, and then drew away and won pretty convincingly at 100K maiden at Churchill. So I'll take a shot here with the 2 Candy Landing. The other horse I was very interested in was the 7 Ottoman Empire. I know, hey, James Graham has choice and he went with a different horse, but Amos I think Amos won a race today. So
that he did, which is a rarity.
Hey.
I think he was like 1 for like 50 last year, and he gets a winner on opening day. So I tend to fade Kentucky trainers in general at Saratoga. Historically, that's been a smart move. But I will have to be a little careful with Tom Amos and see. There could be a chance that he got picked on enough being, 1 for 52 or whatever he was last year. And this year he's bringing a loaded batch up.
Yeah. And, but I like the 7, and this is something I think Caleb, you've probably talked about before. I know I've mentioned it before. These maiden horses that have passed other horses, you don't see that all the time. A lot of times you get these just like speed balls that are going to go out on the front, set a fraction. And these horses on their 2nd, 3rd, 4th try, when they realize that they're not going to get it all their own way on the front end, just don't know what to do. So I like having the horse that's proven to have passed other horses. I know I'm looking at one start. I have Briz in front of me. I've only looked at Briz, so I don't have a speed figure comparison. On Briz, this horse looks pretty slow. So this is more just like a run style, a pace type play. I think 2 is the 2 horse is the horse that's a little bit of short price. I have a little bit more confidence in, and the 7 will be a little bit longer of a price.
Timeform US likes your 7 a fair bit. BSF thinks your 7 is way too slow. I mean, but again, there's 2 things going on here. One is you're judging all this off 1 start. So horses are very likely to improve quite a bit. Yeah, probably the most improvement you're going to get on a horse is from their 1st to their 2nd start. That's a massive improvement angle. And you also have the fact that this is kind of a rarity for a 2-year-old race. If you look through the form here, most of these horses actually have passed other horses, which is kind of shocking when you get down to it. I mean, I think the 8 hasn't, but most of the field did not wire. What you normally see in these races is at first call, they were first by 3 lengths, and then it became 7 lengths, and then it became 10 lengths, and then they won by 15 lengths and put up a big speed figure. And then you throw them all together, and it turns into an absolute, blow it up on the front end kind of a thing. Most of the field here is actually, seem to either rate or have the ability to pass others.
So Caleb, I don't know if you caught all the love that you're getting in chat. Stuart Guthrie saying, "Oh my God, is that Caleb from the Timeform US podcast?"
No,
and then Road Warrior saying he's as famous as Nathan's Hot Dogs now. Talking with David A must have been cool.
First off, Nathan's Hot Dogs is like top tier. I'm not quite there yet, but maybe one day.
I did want to touch on Jay's comment. I know he asked it as soon as we started talking. He is asking about the 5 here in the Sanford.
I like the 5 in here. I wouldn't talk anybody off the 5, but I honestly wouldn't talk anybody off anyone in here. On the figures I'm looking at, the 5 is a little slow, but not so much that the horse might not improve second time out. And historically, and I know this is going to make, this is going to be the stat that Caleb is going to love. If you look at the past 2 or 3 years, park shippers in these 2-year-old races have done phenomenally well. So it would be no shock to see another park shipper come up here and steal another one. I like your 5 quite a bit.
Yeah, you guys have already talked about I hate this race, and I hate all 2-year-old stakes races.
The ticker was right.
I don't like
Josh. The ticker was impeccable.
I don't like Wit. I won't use Wit anywhere. Pletcher horses break slow, and I think that horse is probably going to want to go a little bit longer in the future. Plus, with the rail draw, no thank you. The horse I like is the 2 Candy Landing. We've talked about him already. In these 2-year-old races, I don't really put much stock into speed figures because these horses are so inconsistent and they improve so much. I'm more interested in kind of how you did it, who you beat, what the field came back to do, things like that. And I think this too is just the speed of the speed here. I think he's the quickest horse. Jimmy Graham's a very aggressive rider. I think he clears off. And as much as it pains me to say this, I'm not a Churchill bettor, but I really do think that the Churchill horses of the past year or so have been better than New York. I think we saw that in the Belmont Derby. The New York Churchill shipper ran a good second to the European shipper who ended up winning. We saw it today with Tom Amis getting a first-time starter winner in the second race. And I just think these horses that are stable in Kentucky are definitely stronger than what we've come to expect. So I'm going to lean on them a little bit compared to some of the New York-based horses in a spot like this.
Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, I was going to say one thing in here. If you look at the weather forecast Saturday, they are calling for an absolute deluge. It's thunderstorms, but they're calling for 1 3/4 inches of rain in the afternoon. If you put quite a bit of water on this track, it does probably change this race up. And I know I did land on the 6. Maryland Brando is one of the 3 sort of Tommy horses, horses with, larger Wet Tomlinson's figures. Catch a Snake, the 3, and the 12 Lucago are the other 2. And I know the 1 Wit does have a win off from, the initial win was over a good track. But again, I have similar feelings to Caleb with that horse. Probably gets shuffled back early, especially if there's rain. I definitely want a horse that's more forwardly placed as a 2-year-old because they're not going to like that kickback. So I would tend to shy away from Wit, who might take money off winning on something other than a fast track.
So I did get a private message from our friend Annika. Shout out to Seattle Horse. I think she's Seattle Horse Racing on Instagram. She's a photographer. She was based out of Seattle. I think she's in the DC area now. But she did want to mention that Wit is half to a horse called Barkley, who apparently was an Emerald Down specialist.
Yeah, Barkley was a monster at Emerald Down. Won a ton of races up there.
So won the Long Acre Mile and did win first out as a 2-year-old, and also won black type as a 2-year-old. So does have a little bit of early wins in her. Polka Dot Taylor, he's asking, Wit and Malathot the best in the TP barn? ?
I would agree that Malathot might be the best in the Todd Pletcher barn. I don't think Wit is even really in consideration there.
I mean, we don't know what Wit is yet. We'll see.
That's a valid point.
Best 3-year-old filly, Malathot, yes. I think she's still light years behind the likes of, Latruska, Monomoy Girl, and Sheeter is the Devil, and the rest of the older division, though.
But she's got a rest of a year to catch up, before the distaff. And there's also, maybe as a 4-year-old, she takes another step forward. She has every right to do so.
Yeah, so it seems like a very talented filly.
We have to see her again, though. That's the big thing.
So apparently, Numero D'Oro has never had any kiddos want to win out of the 1 hole if you're into superstition stuff. So interesting. I usually don't go that deep into breeding stuff, but Annika knows Emerald Downs. She frequently will just message me tips on Emerald Downs. She's like, bet this horse. I'm like, okay, I will. I should probably track how well she's doing, but whatever. I bet him anyways. Moving on to the Diana. This was the I believe. No, this was the. I was gonna say this was the first G1 I saw in person, but I think I'd gone to Million Day before I'd been here. But
is that really a grade 1?
What?
Arlington Million.
Come on, dude. The Secretariat's a grade 1. That's for 3-year-olds.
That's a tragedy.
But yeah, I'm surprised. Harvey's LaGoyle not the favorite here. Caleb's best friend David Aragona made La Mista the morning line favorite here at 5-2. Harvey's LaGoyle at 3-1. I believe what is probably one of the kind of like surprise, or not really surprise horses, but I think this is one of the Appleby horses that stayed around. Althika here is also 3-1. He's got another horse that's stuck around, doesn't he?
Yeah. Shoot, he does. Where is it? I can't find it.
Yeah, I forgot already.
Summer Romance.
Summer Romance. Okay, I was like, I saw it earlier, but Summer Romance looking like possibly might be lone speed in this spot. But I don't know, Caleb. I know you love you some turf racing. So what are you thinking here?
This is a fun race. I'll say that to start, because I don't think you're going to see any favorite shorter than maybe 5-2. I mean, I think he probably has the favorite priced right at 5-2. I don't know if the favorite will ultimately be La Mista. I'm not really sure. The public does have an obsession with betting Irad Ortiz and Chad Brown and whatnot. I kind of am with you with Harvey's LaGoyle. I think that she's probably the horse to beat here. 3-1 in the morning line. Maybe she goes off 5-2, 3-1, kind of in that range. But I just think she's a really nice filly. She's continually gotten better. She didn't run her best race last time, but I think that had more to do with the fact that the track came up pretty soggy. She was running on a yielding turf course, which is the first time she's ever encountered a turf track that has that much give in it. And I'm not sure that she really just cared for the going that much that day. I also think that she didn't run poorly by any stretch. I mean, she lost by 4 lengths to Mean Mary and Thundering Knights. I mean, Thundering Knights exited that race to win a Group 1 back in Europe. We all know Mean Mary is, a multiple graded stakes winner in her own right. So I'm not too worried about that last effort. I think if you go back to the Beaugay, into the Breeders' Cup, filly and mare turf, like those are all races that squarely put her in the win conversation for this field. And as you pointed out, there really isn't a ton of speed. I would tend to think that, similar to the last race, that Summer Romance with Luis Saez will be made the pacemaker, and the other half of the Charles Appleby charge will end up be tracking the pace and making a run late. So I do think that Harvey's LaGoyle has a big tactical advantage on a lot of the runners today, that she can be more forwardly placed. And she's not going to be a one-run closer like the likes of maybe like a La Signari or Pocket Square or whoever else. So I like Harvey's LaGoyle. I do think you could make a case for any of the top 5 in this race. So this is a really tough race to bet, because I don't think you see a price, but it's tough to really narrow in on one particular horse on top. So before I talk forever, the only other thing I would say is I don't think La Signari can win this race, but I very much think she could hit the board. So that's probably going to be, if I decide to play anything here, it might be something in an exacta or trifecta, where instead of keying a horse on top over 3 or 4 horses underneath, I may look to use 3 or 4 horses on top and just hope that I can get La Signari to clunk up for second or third.
Yeah, I went through this race, and it was very, very, very similar to Caleb. I think there's you can make a pretty good case for the top 5 or 6 horses in here. I sort of landed on Summer Romance. If you were watching the Meydan races, her and Althik basically were the 2 best fillies in Dubai in this sort of a distance all winter. And both of them were trading wins back and forth. And it seems like Summer Romance is the one that handles just a slightly bit more distance. She's going to be on the front end, and Althik seems to do a little better at a mile, where Summer Romance likes a touch more going. They were trading. Obviously they went 1-2 in the just a game, and I think the little bit of extra distance here really helps Summer Romance. She should be on the front end. She's handled off going before. I mean, let's see how much rain the surface actually takes. If it comes up soft, it comes up really taking a lot of rain. And obviously, I don't know if anybody's familiar. We've had one of the wettest summers in upstate New York that we've ever had. We picked up an inch of rain, what was it, it would have been Wednesday evening. And we've picked up probably 6 or 8 inches of rain in the past probably 10 days. So it's been pretty wet. Let's see how much rain the surface takes and what it's playing like. But I think I really like Summer Romance in here. I think Luis Saez can be really dictating pace here. There's not, like Caleb said, there's not a ton of speed, so he should be able to break, get out in front, and he's one of the best in the world at walking the dog on the front end. He can slow the pace down, really dictate this from the front end, and if he can get Summer Romance to re-rally, he just might walk away on the stretch. So, a race like this, it looks a little flat. I want to get aggressive to one horse, and I think Summer Romance is the one I really want to key around.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get I'm not gonna sit here and wax poetic about how much I love Harvey's Little Goyle, but I'm gonna use 3 horses in the spot. I'm not gonna get super creative. It's gonna be Harvey's Little Goyle, and then I'm gonna use the 2 Appleby horses. I'm gonna use Summer Romance, and I'm gonna use Althika. I kind of agree with you, Mark. I think if you were like, okay, you can only use one, or if I was playing like in some type of contest, say on the weekend that involved picking one horse per day that certain people are in, Summer Romance would probably make a ton of sense here. And I mean, I don't know. We'll see what kind of price we get. This is one of those races that I just have no idea how it's going to get bet. I mean, maybe David's got it dialed in, and we're gonna get 9-2, between 7-2 and 9-2 on most of these horses. But I have no freaking clue. Like, I didn't even think Lamista would register, in the top. I mean, maybe it would have been 4th choice, but
she's 4th choice for me. And I think did Aragona just make the line around the fact that it's Chad and Arad, so therefore we'll make them the favorite.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not going to get super creative here, because I mean, I just think that they're the best horses. I mean, I guess we'll toss Lamista, who's the morning line favorite, but I don't think I don't see her taking that much money.
So Josh, what's your excuse for Harvey's Little Goyle last out in New York? Was it just, do you think, too far for her? Is Mean Mary just that much better for her? I mean, she got beat by freaking My Sister Nat. I was hoping that we could just get past and not talk about My Sister Nat at all. Yeah.
But honestly, I started laughing while Caleb was talking, because he's like, yeah, Mean Mary, Thundering Nights, and I was like, yeah, My Sister Nat.
We don't talk about that.
But I don't know. You want to say
she's your quintessential every other type. She does seem to sort of win every other race. I could, if you're making an argument that this was that rebound race, they're cutting her back to the right distance, and she's probably getting a little softer in here than Mean Mary. I could totally see that argument, but that was kind of a clunker.
I mean, she's 2 for 2 at the distance. And she hasn't done that great going further than this. So maybe she's a little. I mean, I know Tap It on the bottom. You would think that distance wouldn't be a problem, but
on the top end.
I mean, I think a mile and 1/8 is probably as far as she wants to go and run her best race. I'm not saying that she can't win at a mile and 1/4, but I think the field will have to be kind of soft. And I mean, Mean Mary is an awesome turf horse, and they just keep letting her get away with these soft fractions on the front end. And as long as that keeps happening, I think she's going to keep winning. So, yeah, I mean, you're totally right. I mean, she got beat by 2 really, really, really nice horses and then some junk, but is what it is, right? But yeah, I think that's going to do it for Saratoga as far as Saturday. Mark, I don't know if before we switch over to some of these other tracks, was there anything else that you were kind of looking at for Saturday or Friday, maybe?
I've done the Friday card. Honestly, tomorrow feels a little chalky. It feels like one of those sort of, maybe race 6 has a chance for a price, race 3 maybe race 7. But besides that, boy, it just really feels like one of those days where it's a pretty logical day and not a lot of real price surprises. I'll probably play as such and maybe just try to slam some, sort of cute daily double kind of things. Nothing that really stands out with me, Josh. If you follow me on Twitter, I've been trying to put up some videos where I do some little shorts with picks and things. One of my picks got nailed to the wire at 12-1 or whatever today. That was my top pick on the day. So yeah. Goddamn Caleb. If you could have had any other horse besides the one that was screwing me over. No, I'll put those I'll put those up on Twitter, but no, nothing really that jumps out at me tomorrow, Josh.
Like I mean, I wish I had a white wig. I could put the white wig on and do the little Jordan shrug with the dude from was it The Last Dance? But yeah. Well, that's gonna be Saratoga now tomorrow. Maybe click on the right day. Opening day, Del Mar. Caleb, time for you to wax poetic about how much you love Del Mar.
I do love me some Del Mar. It's like Santa Anita, but better. You get bigger fields. The track plays much more fairly. It's not all dominated by early speed. You see a lot of really talented 2-year-olds. You even get some East Coast shippers that show up. It's a really fun track. I know it doesn't get all the attention of Saratoga, and that's understandable. But, it's a really fun evening track to play, and I'm excited that it's back.
So, Mark, are you going to sing Where the Turf Meets the Surf for us?
Caleb is the one here with his singing chops. Some of his,
Caleb did used to be in choir.
Yeah, I mean, and Caleb clearly has the singing chops, so I think he needs to sing whatever the song is at Del Mar.
Bree's already pounding the Peter Miller Barber.
Bree's all geeked out on Del Mar, huh?
She's very geeked out. I'm geeked out too. I'm excited. I like watching Del Mar. I wish my wagering results were as positive at Del Mar as they are at other tracks. StableDuel's got a huge contest tomorrow. $100. I believe it's $10,000 guarantee for opening day. I haven't had a chance to look at much at the card. Caleb, I don't know, was there anything that kind of stood out to you, maybe even in the feature, the Oceanside?
Yeah, there was actually. I think I might have multiple stables in that contest tomorrow because this is one of those cards from what I've glanced through where it looks like you could make a total lineup that would be genuinely competitive for like $30,000. There's a lot of horses. I mean, there's big fields and there's a lot of horses I like in the 8-1 to 20-1 range that I really think have a chance to outright win or at the very least hit the board. But as far as the feature goes, I mean, I think there's a lot of ways you could go. But the one that I'm probably leaning towards is actually with a 20-1 horse, which is the 14 Hockey Dad. I was amazed to see this horse was 20-1. When I saw he was in this race, I didn't really look at the morning line. I'm like, he's in the 14 post. Like he's a toss. He's going to be 9-2 or 5-1. But somehow this horse is 20-1. So you're going to get this horse on StableDuel for like $250. And he's undefeated on turf. He has a win at this distance. I mean, yeah, that's against Calbred, and the water's a little bit deeper here. But he also has pretty good tactical speed in a race that doesn't have a lot of obvious speed signed on. I mean, it looks like the 10 is going to scratch out and the 4 is going to scratch out, which takes quite a bit of the pace out of this race. I mean, maybe the Juan Harbored Memories tries to go early, and then who knows what Dreamshak's going to do on the stretch out again, or if he even takes to the turf. But I think Hockey Dad, a horse that is a proven turf router, getting a little class relief after being sort of thrown to the wolves in the Lexington, just chasing after that crazy pace in a race that totally fell apart. He gets back to California. He gets back on turf, going the right distance. I think this horse makes a ton of sense. He maybe isn't the likeliest winner in this race, but at 20-1, I think he's a really good bet and a great use if you're playing StableDuel to try to earn some positive points for minimal investment.
Stephen
Yep.
Fox saying the waters are deeper and we're near the surf. Sounds dangerous.
Ooh, clever, very clever.
I would just say in the same race, Caleb, I was just sort of flipping through. Obviously, I haven't really capped it that well, but the one hole, Harbored Memories, horses won 2 in a row. I realized those were sprinting it a little bit shorter, but it's California and turf speed seems to carry. Horses 2 for 3 on turf. It seems to be, and if you're a time form person, the figs just kind of tower on that one. Any chance of, I mean, I realize it's not quite as inexpensive as your horse you were talking about, but that seems like a little more of a mid price that makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, that's another one that I think, 8 to 1, so probably $3,000 in StableDuel, like probably going to be your controlling speed from the rail, I would think. And yeah, I mean, I have questions about the distance, but even if he doesn't win at 8 to 1, if you get second or third, like that's a great play. So yeah, I have nothing against that horse at all.
It has the best jockey west of the Mississippi as well, Jose Valdivia Jr.
Pedigree wise, your one should have no problem getting the distance. Just hasn't done it yet, which is always you're paying, you're getting a little bit of a price for the hasn't done it yet.
Yeah, I mean, Harbor the Gold is more of a sprint influence, and this horse tried a route on dirt at even money and kind of got caught. But I do think a mile is probably in the wheelhouse, even if he's a better sprinter.
Our buddy Jay here is he's looking at the Osanitas. That's on Saturday, so we'll come back to that. But Jay's got a nice little horse he likes at 12 to 1. We'll talk about. Yeah, I'll probably hop in that StableDuel. I don't know. I got to see if I'm gonna have time to cap it. Fridays, and I don't know what's going on or what's in the water, but probably for the past couple months, Fridays at work have been a nice, just easy going. And then just this past month, Fridays are nuts. I'm getting 4 p.m. meeting requests on Friday. It's just ridiculous. It used to be that nobody would send a meeting request after 1 on Friday because they knew people would just decline. But it's just gotten longer and longer. So I don't know. Things have been kind of crazy at the hospital, but yeah, Mark and I were talking a little bit before this. Let's talk about Dream Shake a little bit here. 4 to 1 on the morning line. This is one of the places I think that, and one of the things, especially if you're playing StableDuel, that where you can kind of take advantage of stuff like this. I mean, if you really think Dream Shake is going to take money and is the best horse in the spot, yeah, you haven't seen him on the turf yet, but I mean, Twirling Candy loves the turf, right? Street Cry on the bottom is decent on the turf. I don't think distance is going to be a problem. If you think that this is an overlay on the morning line, you can get some value out of this. And 4 to 1's not crazy. What's that in StableDuel bucks, Caleb? I don't have my spreadsheet up.
4 to 1. That's one of those weird numbers that I don't really play much.
It's 7,000, isn't it?
Yeah, 4 to 1 is 7,000. You're correct. Yeah. You're right. Yeah, I agree with you because I don't think you get that price on Friday. I think you probably get 9 to 5, 2 to 1. I mean,
yeah, but you got to remember too. It's also one of those things, right? Where you have to look at it objectively and be all right, I'm paying this much money for this horse. How many points am I gonna get out of it? I'm gonna talk with Evil Bob Dole a little bit about this. He's in the chat. Him and I do a ton of DFS stuff, and mostly him, and I just reap the benefits of him doing all the spreadsheet work. But eventually, when you start to look at this stuff, you start to kind of break it down to points per dollar, and I mean, Caleb, I don't know if you've mentioned this on your video, but I know we've talked about it. You're trying to get to about 350, right? Give or take. So at $50,000, right, you're looking at 7x value there. So, you look at these horses and you try to figure out, okay, how many points can I get out of this horse? So yeah, Dream Shake's going to be shorter than 4 to 1, but at the same time, you have to think, okay, am I going to get 4 to 1 value if the horse runs? Because how many times do you see a horse that you're oh, the horse is 5 to 1, but the horse is going to go off at 3 to 1. That alone's not reason enough to take the horse. You have to make sure that you're going to get the right value out of that out of that horse. It's similar to in DFS when you're playing basketball, like a starter is out and his like replacement's a total scrub, but he's going to get like 40 minutes now. Like, play him, right? But like if he costs too much, or if he's really just that bad, like it doesn't matter that he's the replacement. Like he still might not just be a play. So, kind of use your brain a little bit there. But I agree with you, Caleb. I think Dream Shake's going to be shorter. I'd probably take a shot if I have the salary and I'm not, I'm like, hey, like I need a horse that might win. Dream Shake would be one that I might pay up for.
But my only thing I would say with Dream Shake in this spot is I guess twofold. One thing, Pratt gets off this horse to ride the 13, who's also in this race. It makes you kind of scratch your head. Does Pratt, who I've been told is a good turf jock, really think this is a horse that has a shot here? And also and this is, obviously Dream Shake is the kind of horse that you use in a horizontal because you kind of have to, defensively at least. The real thing that would scare me here in a StableDuel standpoint is if this horse doesn't take to the turf and runs up the field, and you pay, that $7,000 or whatever to get that horse, and the horse finishes last by 30 lengths and you get a negative 60 on a big price horse, that's a massive downside. I think you have to kind of, and again, to what you were saying, Josh, you have to weigh those risks. Do the risks here on Dream Shake offset the sort of unknown? I don't think this is a situation where Dream Shake wins by 10 lengths. So you're not going to get massive upside, but there's a huge amount of downside risk just from risk of the unknown.
Brisnet loves the 13 here, by the way.
I very much like the 13 in this race. Just, again, I've literally spent 2 minutes handicapping this, but the 13 is the horse that I would want to use. And again, you're getting 72 on the morning line, so similar price to Dream Shake. I would much rather take the 13, who I at least know handles the turf. And I also think that 13 could potentially drift up if Dream Shake takes a lot of money. So as somebody win betting or playing doubles or whatnot, I think the 13 is probably your value play.
Yeah, there's way too many nice priced value horses in this race for me to take a horse like Dream Shake or the 13, to be honest. I mean, I already talked about Hockey Dad. I think this 3 makes a ton of sense too. Crew Dragon.
Yeah.
Spoli, ran third last out. Second place horse Cellist came back to run second in the Grade 1 Belmont Derby, losing to Bolshoi Ballet, the Aiden O'Brien chipper. That's after he kind of ran a Z pattern that race, had to steady into the first turn, and then kind of re-rally for second. Honestly, might get a little class relief here despite the apparent class move up here. And there's way too many horses that are 6-1, 8-1, 10-1 for me to land on the favorite in a spot like this.
Yeah, Evil Bob Dole dropping some knowledge in chat, right? He's like, in DFS is about the overall slate. Today in Saratoga, if you're relied on any favorite other than Golden Pal, you lost value with their return. So if you think it's Chalk City, it's more important to find the $250 horse so you can lean on some of the heavier, more likely chalks. You can't look at one race. Yeah, you can't look at one race of a slate and say, it's all about races within. And I agree. Like, if you find winners on the rest of the card that you like at long prices, and you get to the Oceanside and you're like, oh, I can afford this Pratt horse at 7-2 that looks like a monster, like, yeah, like pay up for it, But yeah, it's lineup construction and stable construction is just like it's a whole other beast.
Yeah, yep. It's really an art form. It's really hard. And I think that's what makes StableDuel super fun and super challenging, is the fact of you find a couple of horses that are like, oh, I have a couple price plays that I definitely want to use, and I have a couple chalk I think are solid. But how do you build a squad, and how do you build that team around them is really where the art form comes in.
Yeah, one of these Saturday mornings, I think Caleb and I and Mark, maybe you too. I know you're usually busy. You're busy some Saturday mornings, but and Caleb is usually just like not doing anything. So, he's doing something, but anyways, I think we should just do like a contest, like, hey, Caleb, you're gonna build a lineup for, I don't know, a Del Mar contest or something. Well, I guess that would be in the afternoon for us, but just sit there and we'll just build one live and just like kind of talk through it. We'll have to maybe I don't know about this Saturday because I'm going to be on track, but we'll have to try and do that one of these weeks. I think it'll be instructive and it'll be good, especially for people who haven't been playing much Stable Duel. And reminder, if you guys haven't, we do have the link in our chat, so you can go ahead and sign up there. Getting back to Jay, we're back on. We're on Saturday now. Jay says he really likes the 7 Candura at 12-1 on the Osanitas, improving every race, and the works say that she is feeling great. Mark, have you had a chance to look at the Osanitas at all? I know I didn't list it on our
I have not. Make Caleb do it first, and then give me a minute or two to take a look, Josh.
I mean, I know we looked at it before stream, and you're like, "Oh, there's Brooke," and you were like not happy.
I hate Brooke. The horse has hurt me a couple of times, and I just very much hate Brooke. So, I want to go I realize Pasta's up, and Brooke is going to take probably a ton of money in that field. I just want to go some other way that is not Brooke. So, make Caleb talk for a minute and give me a minute.
Before you talk, I have to ask this question so I know how I feel about this, right? I looked at this race, and I was very interested in the horse. And it's the 2 Sedamar. I need to know, how do you feel about this horse? Don't look at the jockey.
Oh, I do like Sedamar, which means that horse cannot possibly win.
All right, well, I guess I got to throw it out the window.
Because I've never been on the right side of Juan Hernandez in my entire life. I didn't handicap this race, so I really don't have a lot of, input. Jay, as far as your 7 horse Candura goes, I mean, maybe. The horse won her debut on turf, took about 2 years off, came back on dirt, won 2 races at Oaklawn on the dirt. This is a weird horse. It hasn't done a whole lot wrong, but it's a 5-year-old horse with only 4 career starts, a lot of layoffs in between races. I mean, I think there's probably some soundness issues there. Looking at the pedigree, I mean, turf and route should be fine. I wouldn't want to take a short price on this horse, but I do think that she has a lot of ability, and at 12-1, I mean, I wouldn't talk you off of her by any means.
Yeah, I wouldn't talk anybody off from her. She's one of those horses that you look at, and I run into this a lot at Saratoga. You look at a horse and you're like, why are you here? Like, you make no sense in this spot, and you make so little sense that you must be live. And that's it's Ronus Racing, who does obviously very well in California. A horse that seems to have a bunch of turf pedigree and makes a ton of sense in here. Obviously they started this one on turf. Assume this was a turfer. Those crazy layoff lines for 3 years. Weird spot for this one to be back, but yeah, I wouldn't talk anybody off at 12-1. I think the horse I most like in here is the 4 Tapwater. I think Tapwater to me makes the most sense, but you have the Mike Smith factor where he might just randomly forget how to ride horses mid-race. So
it's not random.
Okay, it's not random. He's just old and senile. Yeah, I mean, I think to me, Tapwater is your most likely winner, although the Mike Smith factor scares me at 7-2. But if I was playing a stable duel, I would probably try to build around something like a Tapwater, just in a horse that I think, in time form figs looks to be the fastest. This seems to be the distance. Horse is 3-7 at this distance, 4-7 in the exacta. So the type of horse that maybe is a little bit of a safer play, at least for me. But I wouldn't talk somebody off Candura because that horse does feel very odd in that spot. Like, again, that why are you here?
The funny thing is that Mark's big problem with that race is his West Coast turf handicapping consists of, okay, find where Rispoli is. All right, is the horse over 12-1? Okay, done.
Easy. Now you find where Pasta is, and you go, okay, does this horse even remotely make sense here? And if it does, you just single that horse. That's how I handicap California turf racing, and it's very profitable for me. So,
well, I mean, Brooke does make sense here.
I hate that horse so much. that horse, goddamn Brooke.
Yeah, I looking at that horse's past performances and seeing that it was like a mid price, like 4-1, 3-1, and had Rispoli aboard, and didn't win. I know Mark lost money.
Yeah,
Like,
Brooke was supposed to win both of those races, and then Brooke just doesn't really show up in the lane. And, Brooke is 5 or 10 lifetime, but has never done it in the United States. And I'm assuming the waters in Chile and Argentina are just a little softer. Brooke has to kind of actually win a race before that's a horse that I go, oh, okay, I know what this horse is. I don't know if there's a ceiling there, but it's going to take a lot of money and connections, and obviously looking live on paper. But I just don't trust Brooke at all there.
Yeah, and that's why I didn't like Brooke to begin with because Chilean, not Argentinian. So I only like the Argentinian horses.
Only Argentinian horses. Okay.
Yeah. John Massey says you take away Johnny V's hands and brain, you get Mike Smith.
That is damn accurate. Yeah, the two of us had that conversation today about after a couple of bonehead rides, and we're like, why couldn't have Johnny V been on that horse? Where at least I know what he's not. I'm not going to have the most amazing ride ever, but I at least get consistency, and I know what I'm going to get.
Look, I know we've been. There's been nasty rumors spread that we talk about connections and jockeys a little too much. But although I think I was just the one time by Papo like 2 years ago, but still. And actually, I don't even think it was him. I think it was someone in his chat. But anyways, like that's a nice thing about like Johnny V is like I never feel like, well, Johnny V can move a horse up depending on who rode the horse before him. But like I always feel like, hey, like if you got Johnny V aboard, like the horse isn't going to get into like deep trouble. You know, like he's just gonna.
Nothing stupid is going to happen. You're not going to ride the horse so stupidly that moves the horse down. He may not move the horse up as much as other people might have the potential to, but he's not going to royally screw you over.
He's not Joel Rosario, right?
Exactly. He's not Joel Rosario. That's really where I was going.
Who like is just like maddening because like no, I don't think there's any person who can move a horse up or down as much as Joel Rosario.
And it's the opposite direction you expect. If he's on a 1-2, that horse is going to be moved down. If he's on a 12-1, that horse is going to be moved up. That's just how it works with him.
But God, do I love Joel Rosario. I just like
the gambler on stream happens to love the gambler's jockey.
The gambler jockey, yeah, that's what he is, man. He's like, hey, Alexandra, like, hey, we won last time from 10 lengths back. What if we tried 12 lengths?
12 this
Let's
time.
Fucking go. Like he gets bonus points for style or something. Points. Oh man,
what happens if I can do it this time from 12 lengths back with no whip? Like, he just adds new things to make it a bigger challenge.
He's at Monmouth this weekend.
Oh, he should clean house at Monmouth.
Dude, I'm like excited and terrified to watch this Haskell card this weekend with Rosario with no whip. Like,
I don't understand how though. We've said this before about him. When he went to California, we just saw him with the whip rules in California. Joe all would ship out there, and he would win everything not tied down because he's. I think we'd all agree one of the best hands riders out there. Just he's all hands, and then he didn't, and it felt a little weird. So I don't know.
Well, as I pour myself a little bit more bourbon here.
Yeah, so maybe I'll set it up while you're the grade 2 San Diego for $250K. Mile and 16th, you're getting a field of they're all horses. They all have 4 legs, but I don't trust any of them. And I don't know. I feel like Caleb has some, strong beliefs about a few in this field. So, Caleb, how do you feel about this race?
Dude, I'm sorry. I think this is just the West Coast handicap division as of right now.
There's no way the West Coast. I mean, can it really?
Who's missing?
Bad? Who's
missing? Who's missing?
Country Grammar, maybe.
Okay, Country Grammar.
A horse that doesn't suck. This is terrible.
I mean, we just had Max Player win the biggest graded stakes for older horses in New York so far. So let's not get too carried away.
Okay.
I still think Mystic Guide is your favorite. I still think he's the best. I tossed that last race, the Dubai Bounce, right? You just tossed that last race.
Well, I don't think he had a Dubai Bounce, but I think he had a bad trip on a bad rail. I think he had a very bad ride on the day they got a lot of rain. He got stuck on the rail and just couldn't quite get it done. But I agree with you. I think he is probably still the older horse to beat. Happy Saver, no excuse there. Anyway.
Who won that race?
Max Player.
Oh, that was the max player.
Yeah, Capone was just like 2 years too early.
I blocked it out. You want to know why? Because I bet Happy Saver. I think I sent in a huge bet on Happy Saver because I'm like, oh, well, Mystic Guide. There's no way Mystic Guide wins this race, so obviously Happy Saver wins this. And then just like there I am, fucking rich Uncle Pennybags with my fucking,
Yeah.
But Caleb, let's talk about the West Coast division here.
It's a 2-horse division right now. Weirdly enough, as that sounds. Between Royal Ship and Country Grammar. There is no Country Grammar in this race. And I was a huge skeptic of the Grade 2 California speed fig. It came back as like a 130 on time form. And I'm like, absolutely not. There's no way. And then these horses hooked up again in the Gold Cup and threw down again and posted huge figures again. And I think, fool me once. I mean, shame on you. Fool me twice. Shame on me, I guess. Fool me 3 times. Like, even with Mike Smith, I'm not going to be fooled. Like, I think this horse is just in a different stratosphere than the rest of this competition right now. From a pick 5 horizontal wagering perspective, I think he's a pretty strong single. There really isn't a ton of speed in this race, which could be the one thing that might work against him if Mike Smith decides to channel his inner Rosario. He might find himself a little bit too far off the pace here. But I really think he's just tons the horse to beat. There was probably about 3 others that I had a passing interest in. But just based off of the last 2 efforts, if Royal Ship shows up, the rest of the field runs for second.
Yeah, my issue in here, and I think I did a horrible job setting it up. Josh is much better at this than I am. I don't trust Royal Ship. I don't trust either of those last 2 figures because where on earth did they come from? Randomly, this horse just finds 20 buyer points. Like, that doesn't happen. And again, Express Train, we sort of know what Express Train is, although Express Train does like Del Mar a fair bit. Horse I was a little interested in. And again, you made the case. There's no pace in here, right? So you want to find a horse that can somebody kind of steal this on the front end. And I thought Magic on Tap, the 7, was a little bit interesting here. Not a ton slower than anybody else in this field. I get that Juan gets off, and I don't know if Pasta got off or was taken off, but you're getting Bob Baffert and Abel Cedillo at 12-1 on a horse who's probably controlling speed in this race. Abel can walk the dog on the front end. There's a chance they break. Abel can slow us down enough and just make it so that, because, Royal Ship comes from pretty well out of it. And Express Train is not a horse that really wants to be on the front end either. He wants to kind of sit, a little more stalking trip. To me, Magic on Tap at 12-1. I realized that the big figure came at 7 furlongs and we're stretching back out again, but seemed to be pretty interesting.
I'm laughing because I'm just catching up on chat here, and there's just a lot of there's a lot of jockey chat. I'm not gonna. Apparently, Road Warriors and Stars and Stripes shit. This Jamaican guy was just sitting at the end of his road grilling Rosario's ass for 5 straight races.
Oh, I don't know if they showed it on stream today. Santana flipped off somebody in the crowd. Somebody was heckling him at like third or fourth race, and they were going up to the gate, and the guy was like going at it with Santana, and Santana just flips the guy off. It was awesome.
Yeah. So the interesting thing is, I know we're looking at different products, Mark. Briz, I think, thinks that Tripoli might be faster early.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you want to look at just the last dirt race, but like I don't know. It's weird. I kind of agree with you though. Like there's not a ton of speed in here. I think maybe a horse like your 7 Magic on Tap, maybe even a horse like Momosa might end up on the lead. Momosa has grabbed the lead. I mean, you're going back to 2020, but I just don't know. I don't know if those horses are good enough. Part of me just wants to meme and pick Express Train because Caleb doesn't like him in the spot, and he can never be on the right side of Juan.
If Caleb does not like that horse, it's just we should just all single that horse because I don't know how you can be so wrong about a 25% chalk. I will agree with you, Josh. I'm looking at Timeform's pace projector, and it very well may be that last race is really the only dirt race that horse has ever won. And it could be looking back at some of the turf races where Tripoli had been sitting much further back. It very well just could be not taking into account that just one dirt race, which is the one that's relevant here today.
It looks like Jay St. Magic on tap has run the same figure at the distance as he did in the 7 furlong race as well. So,
Timeform, I don't think quite agrees with you, but
Brisnet really likes that mile and 16th. First
I have 112 on Timeform at the distance. My issue with him is he probably does need to take a step forward. A 112 at the distance versus somebody like a Rail Ship who's run a 130 at this distance. That's an absolute chasm. Now, my play is more that the horse, out of the Baffert barn has every right to step a little forward, improve here, and is control. If does get loose and is controlling speed here, maybe can slow this down enough to steal it on the front end. And that's quite a few ifs, and Caleb's probably right if they don't all align.
Yeah, all the ones a terrible line on that horse, and I think from a StableDuel perspective, that's one of the better value plays on the card. I mean, can he win? I don't know. Is he good enough? I mean, I don't know. But at 12-1, it's definitely worth the gamble.
Yeah. And I guess that was more my thing. Is it a bad line, or is it? Yeah, I think that horse wins the race more than 1 in 12 times. So therefore, I think it's a bad line.
I don't know. I mean, I just keep on coming back to Tripoli, and it's one of those things where I just keep coming back to it, and I can't explain it. Right? I mean, maybe it's the big Briz fig last out. Maybe it's the big pace numbers. I don't know, but I just keep on coming back to Tripoli. Tiago fucks somebody over at least once a day. I don't know. I just keep on coming back to Tripoli. Maybe this is the horse I put my streak on the line. I think I'm 3 for 3 so far on these StableDuel videos I've been getting posted on StableDuel's Twitter. Maybe that's where I go.
I'll put Tripoli right in the winner's circle for you here. I hate horses who on a surface switch freak like that. And freak that much, because to me that and obviously they freaked in an optional 62.5 where they should win. To me that screams of a bad figure or a bounce next out more so than it does a horse that, oh, this was a dirt horse all along, and for the previous 11 starts we just didn't realize it. I think that the fact that it's a bad figure or the horse just freaked and bounces next out is much more likely. But again, I respect it. And I guess I would need more than 8-1 there, or whatever that comes out in StableDuel dollars to dabble there.
I remember reading some stat ages ago that Kitten's Joy has never had a dirt graded stakes winner, or it was something just absurd. And I can't remember what it is, and I can't find it. But if I look it up later, I'll post it on Twitter.
What's funny is I think I could have sworn that you mentioned it, and then I think the next week.
Did somebody win? Maybe that's what it was.
It was something, because I think, if I remember correctly, it could have been one of Ed DeRosa every once in a while will post these weird stats, or he'll do pulls from Brisnet's database, and I could have sworn that Kitten's Joy never winning a dirt stakes race or something was one of them, and I think he literally put a Kitten's Joy into the winner's circle. But I could be wrong. What I would believe is maybe Kitten's Joy not having a graded stakes winner on fast dirt, because Kitten's Joy tend to do a-okay on the off-going. So it's probably something to do with hoof size, right? Right, Mark? Is it similar? Cupping, whatever. I don't know anything about a horse. Let's.
So probably more to do with the fact that if it's off, it got washed off the turf, and it's a 4-horse field.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that sounds more accurate. Yep.
All right, so we do have a big day at Monmouth coming up on Saturday. We also have a big StableDuel contest presented by MANSCAPED. And Caleb, I know someone told me that you got a little package for your package on yesterday.
First off, there was nothing little about it, but go on.
I'm talking about the box. I'm not talking about your balls, bud.
Yeah, I got the MANSCAPED trimmer in the other day. So I had a chance to freshen up a little bit, and pretty impressive stuff. I mean, the packaging on this thing is like top notch. Has yours come in yet?
Yeah, I just got mine today.
Yeah,
so
mine came yesterday, and it's very cool. It's got a cool little cradle, so it's got a nice charging cradle. It's got a USB-C connector. It's way spiffier than other trimmers that I have.
It really is. I mean, my first two cell phones weren't that fancy. Like,
what? But
my current cell phone isn't that fancy, quite honestly.
Now, Caleb, there was something in there that you were even more impressed by, though.
Oh man, the boxers. Yeah, I didn't even know that Manscaped made clothing lines, but their boxers. I mean, it's like having a little cloud to just like gently cup and caress your under regions, and it's just delightful. So it's that, what is that, cotton modal, something like that. But it's it's really something special.
Yeah. So go ahead, Mark.
I was gonna say mine got misshipped, and I kind of like reached into the package and I was like, oh god, I wish these were the right size because they would be killer at Saratoga, just because they're gonna breathe and I'm not gonna be like baking, which is nice.
Yeah, but we got a promo code. I think the promo code's wrongly. It's in our description, manscaped.com. But they the big thing is that they're doing this Monmouth contest. $75. Was it $7,500 guarantee? I gotta pull it back up.
I thought it was 10,000, but I don't see it updated on the app yet. I could be wrong.
No, I haven't even looked yet.
Oh, they don't have it up yet. I think that we retweeted it, but it's a big contest. I've been playing a little bit more Monmouth just because of the StableDuel stuff, honestly. But been playing the StableDuel contest and been playing a little bit. But they got a good card. They got, was it 5 stakes races, I think. And we're just gonna take a look at a couple of them. Race 10 here, the Molly Pitcher. It's a grade 3, going a mile and 16th for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. Mark and I are on different sides, I think, on this race. Mark, if I remember correctly, you just love this too here.
I love Mrs. Danvers. I think Mrs. Danvers is by far and away the class of the field here. A lot of tactical speed. I just think she's classier than everybody in here. And I know class doesn't matter, but I just think she's just better than everybody else in this race. Yeah. And I sort of looked at this race. I tried to make a case for someone else in here. I'll say Mrs. Danvers is the quintessential every other time horse. This is the other. But I just tried to make a case for anybody else in here, and I couldn't find anybody else that I could really make a case for. You're getting Paco, who's going to be aggressive, should be controlling speed in this. Just so many things to like, and I felt like at 3-1, I just didn't need to go any further. That's the horse I want in here.
I'm with you, Josh. I would use every horse in this race before I'd use Mrs. Danvers.
Yes, let's go. Let's go.
This horse is not good and always gets over Beth. I mean, repeatedly. Pretty much no excuse last time, and a total no-show, as she is known to do quite a few times. And at 3-1, I have just no interest in this horse. It feels like there's a ton of speed in here, so I wanted to find a closer, but they really don't have any that look like they're worth half a shit. So I kind of looked for other speeds instead, or someone who might be able to like sit just off. And I kind of ended up on 2 horses, I guess, which was the 5 and the 9. The 5 looks a little bit slow on paper to actually win, but she's also improved pretty much every time. She has a lot of early speed, but she doesn't need the lead. She's only 4 years old, so she does have a lot of a right to improve. 5-4 lifetime. I mean, I get it. She's stepping up out of New York bred company to face some open company here. She also gets a fast track, which she's only had the one time, but arguably ran one of her better races over that fast track. So I thought she was kind of interesting if she might be able to sit just off the pace and then kick in, because I feel like a lot of these horses have been kind of exposed. I mean, Mrs. Danvers, she's had a couple stinkers that doesn't make you want to go back and bet her. Our Super Freak, she hasn't won since, 2019. Thankful Pletcher put her on turf, so that tells you what he thinks of that horse. I mean, there's just a lot of horses here that just don't really look great. So I'd rather take a horse that really might be a little slow on figs, but hasn't done anything wrong as far as results go. So the 5 would be my top pick. And then I did have a passing interest in the 9, but I kind of want to see where Josh landed first.
So I kind of saw it the same way you did, Caleb, with there being quite a bit of speed in here. So I took what I thought was the best of the kind of off the pace horses, and that's a 3 vault. I mean, 7-2, like you're not getting a great price here, but I think that this horse at a mile and 16th, the distance fits, and I just think if this horse gets a little bit of pace up in front, I think this is going to be your best horse to kind of come from a little bit further back. Didn't run great in this race last year, but did have Mike Smith aboard, and I don't have a ton of confidence in Mike Smith, the Raider horse. Mike Smith is definitely more sendy at this point. Tyler, I think, is a little bit more of a little more versatile of a jock. I think probably fits this horse a little bit better. Is getting a ton of class relief here. Leaving that Fleur de Lis. So yeah, I think that this is going to set up nicely for vaults. I think 7-2 is a very fair price on StableDuel. If this horse gets bet down to like 5-2, I'd probably still be interested. I think this is your most likely winner here by a bit. So I'll take my chances with vault here. I did see Road Warrior posted a little bit of a play here, a pick 3 idea starting in race 10, which is where we're at right now. So he took 4 horses here. He took the 2, the 3, the 4, and the 7. So he took the 2 horses that Mark and I liked, and then he just absolutely did not listen at all to Caleb, and took the 4 and the 7. Thankful, who Caleb already trashed. But Caleb, why don't you trash the 7 as well, Walter White?
I tried to get to the 7. I do actually like the 7 a little bit because I thought she ran a monster race 3 back at Aqueduct. I was playing that day. I didn't like her in that spot, and she ran huge. She beat Alondra, who came back to win, and a pretty respectable, grade 3 kind of horse in Sharp Star. But it just seems like her form has kind of gone the wrong way since that one effort. I kind of have to wonder, did she freak in the slop? Does she just need the Lasix? I wasn't really sure what to do. Rudy Rodriguez has pretty horrible stats in graded stakes. I haven't missed 0 for 27 in the last 3 years. So, at 5-1, it's a fair enough price for a horse that on her day might fit. But there was enough questions that I decided to look other ways.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't really have a strong feeling much more in that race, other than I thought I really liked Vault. I thought the horse fit, but
did you just draw on to the last race, Josh, or I know it's Latruska, but she ran last by 14 lengths. That's pretty bad even for her.
Yeah, I kind of just threw a line through that one. Wasn't bet at all, and that's coming off of a nice win in the Ruffian. So I don't know if it was just strictly they knew that she's distance compromised. I don't know if it's just Latruska took all the money, and I think En Boutant took a lot of money in that race too, if I remember correctly. But to go from a grade 2 to another grade 2 and not take any money, I think the water is just too deep. And I don't know, sometimes I just kind of I'll excuse something like that. If Vault comes back and runs another clunker, then yeah, she goes on the shit list, but I'll give her another go here. And, I think that Ruffian effort, or, even if you go back a little further, the Obeah, I think that both those figs win this race here. So now, I guess continuing on with Road Warrior's ticket here, he likes 2 horses. He likes the 8 and the 10 here.
And he doesn't have the winner in either of those 2?
He doesn't have the winner in either of those 2.
Nope, he does not.
He's got 2 Chad. Man, God bless you, Road Warrior. You took 2 of the 3 Chad horses here, didn't you? In Masterpiece.
Caleb will tell you what happens when you take 2 or 3 Chads. The third one's the one that gets you.
I'm just happy he didn't pick Arklow.
Although I do like what he did here, and this is something that I do a lot, especially playing doubles, pick threes, and pick fours, where all right, you got a horse that you really like play another ticket and just single that horse, right? Just get a little bit more leverage to that horse, get a little bit of leverage to your opinions, right? Like it's not quite what Mark does with ABC, where he's playing his A ticket 3 times, his AB ticket 2 times, his ABB ticket maybe 2 times, and his AC ticket 1 time, and like layering it that way. I'm taking you take a smaller horizontal ticket and you play 2 or 3 tickets and you just find your strongest opinions and you just make sure that they're leveraged up. So I like doing that. I usually, when I play pick threes, pick fours, I usually play at least 2, usually 3 tickets and leverage them that way. So the way Tommy Massis kind of showed us how to do it was like you play a multitude of tickets and they kind of work it's kind of like a waterfall almost, right? If your top ticket wins, which is your skinniest one, the rest of the tickets all win, right? If this ticket wins, this, and you kind of just layer them a little bit, it really is kind of an A-B type structure. It's just with a lot more tickets and a lot different combinations. But yeah, I like building my pick 3 tickets that way. So Mark, so you hate all the Chads here, don't you?
I hate all the Chads, of all things you'd never thought you would ever hear me say. Now, I think Trivia Fan doesn't want to go this far. She has a win at 1 1/8. That's the furthest she's ever gotten a win at. She was pretty badly exposed to 1.5 miles in a race in Sweden, of all things, like that she should have won. I think this is a little bit further than she really wants to go. And the horse I ended up landing on was Winner's Back. I think the 6 Winner's Back is going to be able to sit a stalking trip right behind Trivia Fan. When Trivia Fan stops top of the stretch, Winner's Back can take over. Pedigree says on Winner's Back is much more akin to this sort of a distance. The figures make a lot of sense. I know the jock makes you kind of head scratch, but Cohen occasionally gets tossed some legitimate mounts, and I thought Winner's Back made a ton of sense in here, especially at 8-1. Chad, or the Todd Barn, has been doing real well, and this is a horse that's kind of been steadily improving. She's 3 of 8 lifetime, 3 of 8 on the turf. Seems to be getting better every start. And was second to Devimani, who's a legitimate horse last out in that Monmouth, that G3. So it made a lot of sense to me. I don't know if it's a bit of a bad morning line, or if it's just the fact that there's a lot of other players in here that are going to take money, but I like Winner's Back quite a lot in here.
I don't think it's a bad morning line. I think it's probably just more bad handicapping. But
I mean, you saw what I did today. So I mean, that's probably an accurate representation.
Yeah, I mean, you can have David Cohen at 8-1 on turf, all day and twice on Sundays.
I mean, Chad Brown would like a conversation with you from last summer. So
okay, the one turf win David Cohen has had in the past 5 years.
But he won a G1 on turf at Saratoga. I mean, apparently it's a thing he can do.
Yeah, I have to admit, I halfway agree with John Massey, I think, or Red Warrior, excuse me. The Tribivon I do like. I thought he ran a real nice race last time out. He lost the domestic spending, but domestic spending's kind of in his own zip code right now, and nobody else is even close to what that horse is doing. Tribivon actually held on for second despite setting some really quick fractions, and he beat Gouffroy by a length and a quarter, who came back to win a graded stakes pretty easily in his next start as well. And I still think is one of the best turf horses in the country. But I thought there was a lot of ways you can go here that don't involve Arklow. So, beyond Tribivon, another horse I thought was kind of interesting to me, and this one could blow up in my face, was the 9 Glen County. He looks a little slow. He does, and I'll kind of concede that on time form. They don't really have him as really quick enough to be able to win this race, but he's pretty much improved in each of his last 5 or 6 starts. He's consecutively gotten better. The distance won't be a problem. There's arguably nobody better in this game at taking a horse and stretching them out on turf than Mike Maker. You get Tyler Gaffleone, who's been aboard for a couple of the wins so far. And I thought this horse is really just a forward-moving kind of horse that should be somewhat forwardly placed, but doesn't need the lead in the event that the 6 and the 10 both kind of go out there and, with a 2 maybe and do battle on the front end. I thought he kind of gets that first run trip, and he does need to improve, but at 20-1, I mean, I think that's a risk that I find worth taking at those kind of odds.
I do like your 9 Glen County. That horse does make some sense. I just don't know about, lost to Kentucky Ghost and In Love 2 back. It seems to be you're coming out of optional 62, and this should be a big step up in class. I realize class doesn't matter because Josh said so, but don't you kind of worry that the waters just suddenly got really, really deep here? And the last time we did that, and this in the Hill Prince, the horse completely flopped.
It was on yielding turf, so you throw that out, right?
Yeah, but they've gotten the same rain we've gotten. So, I mean, I would imagine Monmouth is going to be good at best, right?
Dude, so one of my biggest regrets in life right now is the fact that I wasn't able to make it to Saratoga for this weekend to meet John Massey in person. Because he is just like full of scorn already. Caleb levels of scorn in chat.
He was full on today about the fact that the reason Chad Brown has been stinking it up lately is that he's got too much going on at too many stables, and that he's overextended his barn. And I mean, like, he fixed the Chad Brown. The Linda Rice problem is what he's referred to it. So not the most recent Linda Rice, paying for Christmas presents, but the previous Linda Rice, where she won the Saratoga training title and then the next year couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with a horse, and her stable was atrocious, where she basically overextended herself and her barn completely collapsed. And that's what he thinks is going on with the Chad Brown barn right now. And I don't necessarily disagree with him. I think he has a very valid point that Chad Chad is somebody who's, I don't want to say a control freak, but Chad does like to really run his own barn. There's a certain size where you just have too many horses in the stable to really be able to accurately run that barn. And if you're running it 3 or 4 tracks all in the same weekend, you can't be in 3 or 4 places at the same time, making sure everything's really being taken care of. And does he really have that? He has a couple of strong assistants, a couple of them I know, but does he really have that network of support people around him that he might need to run that bigger stable?
Yeah, I like 3 horses in this race, and I'm actually kind of seeing it similar to Road Warrior. Tribhuvan, I mean, might just have a pace advantage here. I don't know what happened in the Manhattan. It looks like the horse just like ran off. But the thing is, you have seen, like, if the horse gets out in the front, has shown to be able to stay on. I just think that 46-4 going 1.25 miles on the turf was just way too fast. There's no way the horse is going to hold on to that and still finish second. So, I mean, you had Eric Cancel aboard. I mean, if you would have had Luis Saez aboard, I think that Tribhuvan wins for fun, because Luis Saez knows how to rate a horse. Now you get noted turf jockey Flavian Pratt aboard here. So I think you get a little bit better of a ride. I think you're going to get more metered pace out of Tribhuvan. So that might be enough. I do have to shout out Cash and Putty Stables own number 8 Masterpiece. I've liked this horse mostly because it did win came from Argentina. Is a Chilean horse, so I probably shouldn't be as big on Masterpiece, since I already trashed Chilean horses and said I like Argentinian ones. I don't know what happened in that Manhattan. The horse had the pace set up I think that it needed, but just didn't show as big of a turn of foot. I do think it's getting a little bit of relief here as far as field is concerned. Does have Tribhuvan in here, but other than that, there's not really another, real, G2 plus type horse. There's Arklow, but I know, Mark, we were talking a little bit before the stream. 7, that's kind of where these horses, even these marathon horses, they start to kind of slow down a little bit.
I get it that Arklow's won 2 in a row, and honestly, he's won 3 of his last 4. Arklow is, Oh, Arklow. I think Arklow probably is best going a little further than this, first off. And I think Arklow just is a horse I don't in any way, shape, or form trust. He's never been consistent his entire career. And I don't imagine he just suddenly found a second wind as a 7-year-old and jumped forward and improved. Caleb's favorite horse is running in Arlington this weekend. And, much like that, I just
I'll get your pictures.
He needs a little bit of a couple, couple hairs off the tail for his voodoo doll. So,
please.
Yeah, but I think much like that. I think Arklow here is. I realize he's found some form randomly. I just don't trust him. I think he's getting old. At some point, he has to fall off a cliff, right? Like horses don't run turf distances and consistently stay this good at that. That age, and I just hate Arklow.
And I'll be honest with you. One of my friends, Nico, he was on the podcast with Jason Beam the other day, right? And he was talking about something where almost like contrarianism for contrarianism's sake. But I think in this case, right, you got a horse at 8-5. That is going to be your favorite. Everyone's going to see all these runs. Like, just the value in this race is playing against this horse, right? That's where all the value in this race is. If whoever you think the most likely winner is in this race, not named Arklow, is going to be 3-1, and you don't get that often, right? This might be a takeout reducer type situation. And if it's not, right, mentally, you have to almost look at it like it's a takeout reducer type situation, right? You toss Arklow and you try to make value, tossing that horse because you just can't trust that horse at this point, I don't think.
I think it all comes back to that thing of, do we bet on horses to be right or do we bet on horses to make money? If you're betting horses to be right, you probably include Arklow in your tickets. If you're betting on horses to make money, ignoring Arklow and finding the real most likely winner in this race is how you make money.
I can't believe I'm about to be the Arklow apologist in this group, but
really, Caleb,
I'm not going to bet this sequence. I'll play the StableDuel contest, but I try not to give money to the state of New Jersey since the whole riding crop rule. Anyway, he's 3 for 4 since putting the blinkers on. His only loss was in the Breeders' Cup Turf against 2 of the best turf horses in the world, Tarnawa and Magical. Like, isn't he just a lot better than these who are coming out of trashy grade 3s or allowance races? Or, I guess Tribhuvan did have a nice race last out, but that's pretty much the only horse that's coming out of a nice race with a nice effort.
Caleb,
I'm not using him. I'm not betting him. He's 8-5.
You're making a case for like one of the old guard and the older male turf division that is basically your favorite thing to piss on in the entire world. So I'm a little concerned. You okay, buddy?
Yeah.
You feeling all right?
Dude, literally, Road Warrior just complimented us. He just complimented us and said, "Hey, the most entertaining aspect of all these shows is the angst in everyone's voice handicapping older turf horses." And there's Caleb. I don't know, maybe Arklow.
Well, listen, it's not fun if you guys all hate Arklow. Like, I'm the only one that wants to do all over Arklow and Sadler's Joy. But if we're all going to do it, then I got to be – Brian's not here, so someone's got to be the contrarian.
Well, the third horse that I was interested in, besides the 2 Chad horses that Road Warrior and I agreed on.
You want Epic Bromance? I kind of like this one as well.
I kind of like Epic Bromance in this spot.
A little bit, yeah.
I kind of like Epic Bromance in the spot. Like, I think that his only option is to go. The only way this horse can win this race is to go. This is a need to lead type horse. And I don't know. Tribhuvan might just go and just be like, I don't care. I'm going to get in the lead. I'm just going to get in front of everybody. But you're getting 20-1. You're getting Kent Sweezy, who's hitting at 37%.
You're getting 20-1 on a horse that's never missed the exacta at this track.
I think as far as things go in StableDuel, I think that this might be a must use. Even if you're using another horse, if 20-1 is a pittance, what is that? $250? and you might be getting third, fourth place points here.
Yeah.
I
He
think
might
that
be
this
a
is
first
I think
place
that this
horse.
is a must play in Stable Duel, and I don't know, man. I could see this horse hitting the board, and maybe I don't know if this horse can win, but especially after that Elkhorn. But it looks like he got placed 7 through disqualification. But it looks like he was
And the horse also just happens to be perfect at this distance. 1 for 1.
I think y'all are out of your minds on the 2. I'm not going to waste time like trashing a 20 to 1, but like the best race he has ever run would be good enough for 6th in this field.
Said the Arklow apologist. The Arklow
apologist is like, hey, like your horse is
your
ridiculous.
Horse just, yeah.
I'll take 8 to 5 on Arklow.
I will take Arklow over Epic Bromance. That much I can do.
All right, Mark.
Okay.
I believe you said you hated this race.
I hate this race.
Haskell.
Yeah.
The the early Midsummer Derby. Not to be confused with the Travers.
This is like, I don't know. This is like capping the older male turf division. It's the like, what horse hasn't hurt me the most recently? Like, just there's nobody in here that's any good. There's no one in here I'm comfortable betting and saying, oh, I can kind of trust that horse. There's, I mean, Mandaloon, like, I don't know, is Mandaloon actually a distance horse, or like what the hell happened in the Derby? And, I mean, obviously, okay, he theoretically, he actually won the Derby. But then he comes back in the peg and I don't know. I mean, wins the peg. Yeah, I guess Mandaloon makes sense in here. There's some part of me that feels like Mandaloon has been overhyped or like over made up to be better than he really is. His figs don't really tower over anybody else in here, and he's, I would imagine, going to be shorter than 2 to 1. I think the board's a little funny here. I would imagine that Mandaloon ends up going off your favorite, and Hot Rod Charlie ends up being second choice, just given that Mandaloon, I don't know. I capped this horse. I capped this race. I looked back and forth. I ended up kind of being like, okay, your most logical horses are Following Sea, Mandaloon, Hot Rod Charlie, and Midnight Bourbon makes some sense as well. I can't really draw a line and say, oh, one of these I really feel comfortable in, and I don't want to be 4 deep in a 7-horse race. So it's one of those ones that like I would avoid sequences just because of this race overall. I'm sure I can see Caleb's face, so he has some, clear opinion that Hot Rod Charlie is best by 100 miles or something. But I hated this race. It felt uncomfortable to cap it. I didn't feel like I had any opinion here that was valid, and I felt like I was just, pissing money away trying to bet here, or trying to come up with a bet that I wanted to play.
Can I just mention that, like, the thing I hate the most about this race is this race sucks for StableDuel.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this race sucks. Like, I don't know. I think you skipped this race in StableDuel, right? Yeah, you got 14 races.
Totally.
I think you skipped this race because any horse that you bet, like, on the morning line, I think there's maybe 5, or let me see. Let me count. By my estimation, there are 4 horses that can win this race, I think. And the longest price is 9 to 2.
There's no value here. There's no value here.
I think you could look elsewhere. I think you skipped this race in StableDuel. What do you think, Caleb?
Yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, the way I'll approach this is I haven't done the entire card at Monmouth yet, so I'll see what my other opinions are. But my position here will probably be to either use Hot Rod Charlie, maybe use Midnight Bourbon if I like really think I can get the value out of him, or skip the race. But I do agree that there's 2 horses in here that really have no chance. I mean, the 2 and the 5 just can't win. My biggest opinion here is that I'm against the 1, Following Sea. But at 3 to 1, like, that's not really a bold opinion. I think the horse will take more money than that. But as far as StableDuel is concerned, like 3 to 1, my biggest issue here is I don't think this horse wants anything to do with 2 turns. I mean, Run Happy was a champion sprinter. The Dam, I mean, Quick Flip is, by Spadestown, who is a champion sprinter. There is 0 route anywhere in this pedigree. The horse is going from 6.5 furlongs to 9 furlongs. I mean, he's literally being asked to run a race and a half compared to what he's ever done before. And I know it's Monmouth and speed is immortal and the rail's good, but I just cannot. That horse will beat me 100 times out of 100 before I ever use a horse like that in this spot.
So Caleb, real quick, there was something else about Run Happy though. What was it?
There's a thing like in the little blurb. You mean?
Yeah, I believe it's Run medication free.
Yeah. And what do we hear today again?
Well, this horse is 0 for 1 medication free and 2 for 2 on medication. So make of that what you will.
But my only thing, I kind of like following Sear, and I'm not to cut Caleb off. I'm sorry that I totally 100% am. But my thought with following Sear was just the fact that I don't think Todd is shipping here just to run a horse. Like, especially for Spendthrift. Like, why is he doing this? I would imagine this horse is well met. Todd thinks this horse can get the distance. Joel is, losing an entire day of Saratoga to ship down. And he has other mounts in here. I get that, but or other mounts on the card. But, Joel is apparently coming down to ride following C in this race. He's been on the last 2 where they've won by, 1.5 miles both times. You would think that clues you into that maybe this horse actually, the pedigree doesn't say it, but maybe this one can get the distance and, kind of beat the odds. I get it. I get where you're coming from a pedigree standpoint, but there are a couple of other intrinsic factors I go, oh, that's a little interesting.
I do hear that you did trash Cash and Putty Stables' newest edition, Midnight Bourbon.
No, I like that edition. I just didn't realize that horse was actually available. I just assumed he would be owned, but apparently he was owned and got dropped in a fantasy league I'm a part of. But yeah, I think Midnight Bourbon is an incredibly likely board hitter in this race. He just doesn't seem to be. He kind of lacks that killer instinct, it seems. Which to finish my point, I guess, is that I think Hot Rod Charlie wins this race. His last race was one of the better races I think I've seen all year. He went way too fast. You're not supposed to hold on in the Belmont when you go 46-2 to the half. He was hounded the entire way, and he didn't lose by a whole lot to Essential Quality, who is very much the best 3-year-old in the country. I just think this horse has gotten better and better, and if he shows up with either of his last 3 efforts, he probably wins.
So your take here is that he's improved from the Kentucky Derby effort, or that you toss the Kentucky Derby effort on his trip?
Well, I'm not tossing the Kentucky Derby. I just think I think his Kentucky Derby was good. I mean, I think there was a pretty pronounced speed bias at Churchill in the back half of that card, which carried Medina Spirit and definitely Mandaloun to the victory that day.
I don't disagree. My take here is Mandaloun did beat him. So, and Monmouth is more than likely going to be juiced. I'll get out for their biggest day of the year. So does that now again carry Mandaloun and put Midnight Bourbon at a disadvantage coming from
Midnight Bourbon or Hot Rod Charlie?
Sorry, Hot Rod Charlie.
I mean, I don't think so. I think Hot Rod Charlie ends up more forwardly placed than Mandaloun, to be honest. And Mandaloun, I mean, that Kentucky Derby is kind of the anomaly on his race. It's the only fig he has that would be competitive in this spot, whereas Hot Rod Charlie has about 3 numbers that are good enough, including the last one, which was huge.
So the funny thing is that, we talked about this a little bit earlier, right? If you look at Midnight Bourbon, right, look at all of his running lines, and then look at the Kentucky Derby one, and then look at the jock on the Kentucky Derby. Like, this is why we say what we say, right? This is why we say what we say, right? But, yeah, I don't know. Like, I kind of, like, gun to my head, I mean, maybe I go with following C, especially in state.
Josh, we're agreeing way too much here. This is not okay.
But like, it's like, honestly, it's strictly on a money play. Strictly on a money play, right?
Same.
I guess, like, if the most likely winner might be Mandaloun, I don't know.
Well, that's my thing. Like, I don't know what the board goes off at here. And again, StableDuel doesn't matter. You're getting the morning line, so you're getting what you have. To me, isn't it a coin flip? Who's the favorite here between Mandaloun and the Hot Rod Charlie? At least in my head, it feels like it is. Caleb's probably right. Hot Rod Charlie has run more races that are faster, right? So probably Hot Rod Charlie ends up being a slight favorite, but man, they got to be close on the line. And how short do they get bet down? So if you're a horizontal player, how do you approach this race? This race is just impossible as a horizontal player.
Yeah, this is just like a weird. I don't know. This is a weird race. I did see Stuart Guthrie saying Mandaloon's inconsistent. He thinks he needs a crop, reminders to stay on task, bad fit. It's this track, IMO. That could be like that's one of the things about this track that you kind of think about. I don't necessarily know if speed is good, but like getting a speed horse to stay on versus getting a horse to kind of start picking it up at the top of the stretch and switch leads and stuff like that without the whip. I mean, I think that's a little bit more difficult. So I don't know if that helps speed, if speed's better at Monmouth, but that's just something to think about. Like, and it's one of those things, one of those idiosyncrasies of the different tracks. Same thing with like if you like watch like Woodbine or the West Coast, right? They have only so many whip strikes that they can give. So it's always something you got to think about, especially when you see horses shipping and stuff like that. Yeah, I think I would probably take Following C here. Surprise, surprise, the horse is an E8 and Josh is picking it. I believe I'm supposed to hit this banner at some point earlier, but
I'm also picking the cheap speed apparently. So, I mean, you're good company, Josh.
I mean, Hot Rod Charlie
actually wins money where I just get nosed out 3 times in a row. But
Hot Rod Charlie and Mandaloon are both really nice horses. At this point, though, like I guess I'll take the cheaper horse.
Are they really
StableDuel.
I mean, I get to this point in the year and I want to find the 3-year-old who's taking that step forward and is going to be a classic horse. Have we seen that classic horse yet? I mean, is the classic division that bad that somebody out of this race is going to win the classic?
No.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Like I said, Mystic Guide.
So my thing is it the fact that are these horses that good, or is it just the fact of this is the 3-year-old crop we have? Like I tend to take the case of, okay, this crop of 3-year-olds just isn't that good. So it's not these are great horses, it's that this is the best of the 3-year-old crop and I want that new face. And that's kind of why I land on Following C. I want that new face I haven't seen that maybe has that upside.
Yeah, horse only got 3 starts, so you would assume if there was a horse in here still with upside, it'd probably be Following C. Agreed.
Yeah. But I understand everything Caleb says, and Caleb is very much right on it being probably Hot Rod Charlie is your best horse in the field, wins this most of the time. Mandaloon probably is second. I just like that upside because I don't honestly think that Hot Rod Charlie or Mandaloon or Midnight Bourbon even are that good. And I think there's, if you take that and you say, okay, well, this race isn't that good and you push it down, then you have a little more calamity factor that can take place.
Either way, avoid this race probably in StableDuel.
Yeah, tough race.
Yeah, there's no value here.
Was there anything else? I don't know. Did you guys? I did see on this card.
You made me come up with price picks for Del Mar, and then we didn't talk about my price picks for Del Mar.
All right, what are your price picks for Del Mar?
Caleb is going to be already. I'll just tell Caleb the races, and he'll be able to tell me the horses I picked.
Okay.
So Del Mar on Saturday, race 4 and race 11. Find the horses I picked.
Race 4 to the 1.
Correct.
Race 11, you said?
Race 11.
The 11.
That would be the one as well, yeah.
I had to get to the end to find that one.
No, I mean, I think both those cases, they are I did say that and I lied. I lie. That's what I do. No, I think both of the cases you're getting a very, very good turf jock who is landing on horses that probably have some upside in fields that are a touch suspect. And I think you're not paying a lot for horses I think have a high chance of winning. And I don't think will be disgraced in these fields at larger prices. So if you're approaching it from a StableDuel standpoint, I think both the 1 in race 4 and the 11 in race 11 are horses that they're not going to be beaten by 20 lengths. They're going to be horses that they may not win, but you're going to be, sort of in that cluster where you don't lose points, and they have a lot of upside for low value. So the risk versus reward is huge with both of them.
I know you picked a different horse, but I figured the Spanner was appropriate.
You have a Kent thing. I know. Honestly, I don't hate that Kent horse in the.
I didn't hate that Kent horse either. I picked it to just go along with my meme that I just bet all these Kent horses on turf, similar to your Rispoli horses. But I don't know, man. In this race, I don't hate that horse that much. So that might be something I kind of build around.
That's what Barraza. Yeah, I don't hate Barraza in here at all. Barraza catches a touch of class leaf and has some early tactical speed to be involved. Probably is the right distance, and second time Kent. That's gotta be good for something, right?
Caleb, I know you probably didn't get a chance to look at this race, but the Monmouth Cup. I mean,
yeah,
man, if there's just not some fucking horses in this race.
I mean, it's kind of a fun race, right? I mean, there's a lot of, it's not a big field, but, you got the likely leader with American Dubai. You got New York Traffic, who you've lost just Lord knows how much money to. And you got Dr. Post, who nobody's forgiven since his Haskell last year. I mean, you got Night Ops, who only wins races at tracks nobody's heard of, like Prairie Meadows. I mean, it's a fun race. I mean, Bal Harbour, he was good back when Obama was president. So it's kind of a fun race. Are you actually going to bet bank it? I mean, I don't know. Maybe. Like, he looks like he might be like a great value Mr. Buff, but maybe he gets the job done at the company.
He's got to bounce off that last, right? Like, doesn't he have to bounce?
You would think
you're not supposed to improve 25 points on time form overnight and not bounce.
You would certainly think so.
And then you got Night Ops, who just hates the fucking win. Like, this is just like a mess of a race. I actually thought New York Traffic ran pretty decent last time out. I mean, lost by a length. I don't really know if he had an excuse, but I thought he ran fine. I think New York Traffic's a solid G3 horse. Maybe we'll probably run maybe a couple G2s here and there, but I think he's a fine horse. We'll see what happens in this race.
What is his E number, Josh?
It's only a 5. He's not an E8.
5.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
If I was going to bet some cheap speed, it would be American Dubai.
For him. Got it.
Yeah, no, American Dubai is the E8 in this spot.
Josh, who is Dr. Post?
Dude, people still wonder who Dr. Post is, but yeah, it's going to be a fun day of racing. I will be on track at Arlington. I know we probably don't have any Arlington locals, but if you are on track, shoot me a message on Twitter. We can meet up. Maybe I'll buy you a beer. I don't know. But you got a grade 3 or 2 grade 3s. You got a couple of other stakes races here. I did see that. Was it in the Modesty? No, the Modesty is the Philly race. The Arlington. I did see your favorite.
I would say, has anybody talked about the? I don't know if we really should because I actually haven't capped the race. Race 5, the Matchmaker.
No, I was busy making the Zulu Alpha joke, but we'll go back. David Cabrera comes in to ride Zulu Alpha. How about that?
The guy who rides at circuits that don't have any turf.
Yeah,
I see no way this ends poorly.
Well, he rides in
Oaklawn, Prairie Meadows, Lone Star. Oh, he rides Lone Star.
Lone Star and Sam Houston. Yeah,
I guess that technically counts as turf.
He's 15% turf apparently in the past couple of years. But Mark, you said the
I just want to clear this up because there's a couple of Chad Brown horses that Caleb hates, so I figured he could go on a rant about No Nay Never.
Nay Lady Nay.
I'm sorry, the wrong one.
I don't hate that horse because I've literally never bet that horse in my life. like I knew from day 2 when Chad Brown took this horse to Parks that this was not going to be a real Chad, and I've never been tricked by this horse pretty much ever. You guys, I don't know.
Sorry, wrong start. Wrong horse. That was a Chad Brown horse that was on turf that started with the letter N. My bad.
You're the sire, right?
I had the right sire and I screwed up the name. Damn it.
Counterparty risk. That horse does owe me a little bit of money, though. Who else have we got here? Julia Foxtrot. she probably wins this race.
She probably wins for fun.
Yeah, she's pretty sharp.
But yeah, we hey, dude, we covered a lot of races. I'm actually proud of us. I think it
Josh,
helped.
did you see anything in Arlington that you like really have you handicapped at all? Like any one horse you're like dying to bet?
No, I mean, I didn't really like Zulu Alpha in that spot. Who was the horse that
Shocker
I was on in that race? I think I might go back to the Busy Channel well in that race.
Even bigger shocker.
Yeah.
Bigger shocker. Josh found the E in a turf route.
But I don't know, like it's just like one of those things where I look at it and I'm like, man, maybe there is a bit of speed in this race. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. The American Derby, I did see Bodenheimer showed up here for Hugh Robertson. So it looks like there's a barn switch. Maybe it's because I don't know if Valerie Lund doesn't have a Illinois training license, but Bodenheimer shows up here. Ruben Fuentes ships in to ride. But the horse didn't really run much last time out at Canterbury, so I don't know. But that horse was a little interesting there. But yeah, it'll be fun. I'm gonna take a closer look tomorrow, and maybe I'll post some stuff from when I'm on track, and I'm gonna try and see if I can buy Ed DeRosa a whiskey or something because he sent me out a nice bottle of whiskey.
Aww.
So. But yeah, if you guys are on track at Arlington, shoot me a message. If you're on track at Saratoga, shoot Mark a message. He's usually around. The three of us.
Yeah, say shoot me a message if you're there either Friday or Sunday. I probably won't be on track Saturday. I may, but I'm not the plan right now. And I will buy you a beer if you do.
And then I know we'll be on track for Alabama weekend, so we'll probably do something stupid.
So Josh, you need to pronounce the name. John Massey put it up.
It's a Schuylerville. Yeah, it's a Schuylerville. I believe last year I pronounced it the Schuylerville. And
I'm going to type something in private chat. You need to pronounce this for me.
I'm kind of pissed, Josh, because ever since you said it wrong, I like mentally say it that way now, and I have to like correct myself before I really say it.
Where you said put something in private chat? Where the heck is private chat?
He slid into your.
Oh yeah. Oh, the Glens Falls, or the place? Sorry, the place where John Clendon
lives. Yeah, he lives, I think, a little outside town.
Was he on track today or no?
He was. We didn't hook up. I guess I guess the wife was getting a little anxious, and their dog got wild up or something, and they had to leave a little bit early. So we tried to. I caught up with Brendan. I caught up with Mr. Sweet Sassy John Massey. Hung out with them for a bit, and I'll track down some more people tomorrow.
Cool. All right. Well, yeah, make sure you check out Chase. I know he's going to be live somewhere, I think from a hot tub tomorrow. So make sure you watch that shit show. Check out StableDuel. Check out MANSCAPED. Use the code WRONGLEAD for 20% off. And there's a link in our description. Yeah, if you guys got any comments, questions, hit us up. We got our Twitter handles here, and we'll catch you guys later.